Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is on July 20th, 2023. It's on Thursday and sunny outside. How are you spending Thursday? Do you like Thursday? Do you have a work or school today? Or do you have a day off? It depends on your schedule. It hinges on your schedule. It's all up to your schedule. When I was a university student, I used to make the schedule for Thursday very light and easy. And it worked in a week. When I was a university student, I used to schedule Thursday with a few classes and easy, and it worked in a week. So yeah. but instead of making the day for Thursday light, easy, I had to put more classes on other days in the week. Have you got the essence of the martial art? Have you understood the essence of the martial art? Essence. Have you understood the essence of the martial art? Have you got the essence? Have you got the essence of the martial art? Have you got the essence of the martial art? Essence. In essence, the event has to be held in both spring and autumn, but because of the rhythm, it was condensed into one and held at once, mixing the two seasons into one in spring. The real abalone is usually used, in essence, to show respect show respect of the sender to the recipient. But some substitutes are usually used recently. In essence, in essence, in essence, in essence, in essence. In essence, the festival used to be held in summer, but due to the pandemic, it was postponed until the end of the year, which was also postponed or cancelled at all. The event used to take place every summer, but due to the pandemic it was postponed, cancelled, put off. Essence. Essence of our life. Have you got the essence of our life? What is the essence and the answer to our life? Essence. Essence of learning, essence of studying, essence of graduation or from schools. Developing the decent character as a person is the essence of it. Preparing for becoming an adult before entering society is the essence of the education at schools. Essence. In essence, all of the candidates have to take the examinations and interview, and in the end they can enter the entity, but there are some exceptions. If a person is recommended or invited for a reason such as special technique, he or she can enter the entity without the examinations. But in essence, the candidate have to take the examinations and job interviews. Essence. In essence. In essence, the event is held both in the morning and at night, but because of the pandemic, it was shortened only evening. In essence, the limitation of the number of customers into the hall was not limited, but due to the pandemic, it was limited to the minimum number, which made the restriction issued by the government. In essence, before the pandemic, the number of people who are allowed to enter the hall was not restricted, but due to the state of emergencies and the new policies which prevent us from getting infected issued by the government, the number was restricted. In essence, a cup of coffee used to work for my body to get up, but the more I take the caffeine, the less it started to affect. In essence, a cup of coffee used to work for my body to get up, but as the more I get a cafe from a cup of coffee every day, the less it started to work. Maybe I got the immunization against it. If you make a change the way you are doing in, your level might significantly increase, build up, boost. If you cannot make any progress with the way you are doing in, maybe you had a better change something in the way. You better off changing. You might as well change something in you, and which might help you significantly increase your level. Changing something in the way you are always doing in might help you improve the level, skill, ability, and so on. If you cannot make any progress with the way you are doing in all the time, maybe you better off changing the way, maybe at least a little thing, a little bit of the way, and then which might help you improve your skill, ability, or maybe at least you can make a little change. I was wandering around the tourist spot to check some information, route, and so on, and I found out some important things to know. The business hours and opening dates were different from the pandemic. Different from before the pandemic. So, most importantly, many of the shops which were open to the public before the pandemic were closed. So, we had a better check which stores are still open before visiting there. Significantly. Making a little change in the way we are doing might help us significantly improve something. But if you are obstinate, stubborn, rigid enough to make no change at all, maybe the progress might not be made. More significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly. you have to submit, turn in, hand in the report to the professor by the deadline. More significantly, do not forget sign your name at the end of the page. Otherwise, you have to take the same year again, which will cost you more. More significantly, more significantly, more significantly. You need a visa to enter the country. More significantly, please make sure that you have your passport ready. And please make sure that your passport has more than 6 months before the expiry. Otherwise, you might be stopped from entering. You have to get your passport ready before the departure. Most significantly, if you already have a passport, please make sure that your passport has at least 6 months leeway from the expiry date. Expiry, which is which is stipulated as a rule as a border measure of the country. Please make sure that you have your passport ready before the departure of the plane. And most significantly, if you have a passport, please make certain that your passport has more than 6 months from the expiring date, which is stipulated in the country, that if your passport is within the validity of your passport is within 6 months, you cannot enter the country. So please make sure that. Most significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly, more significantly. More significantly, more significantly. There are 2 things I want you to do before starting your sightseeing. First, change your time to the local time of Japan. Otherwise, you might fail to gather the meeting point on time. So first, change your time to the local Japanese time first. The second is more significantly, please follow the rules which are stipulated in the document. They are not difficult to memorize, just there are 10 stipulations you have to memorize, which are easy. So you don't have to worry, okay? More significantly. More significantly. If you want to go to a foreign country, please get your passport ready before the departure of the plane. More significantly, please gather the information about entering the country. You might need more things other than the passport, such as a visa and so on. Significant documents were stolen from the house. Eating vegetables is no less significant than sleeping enough. Having a regular exercise is no less significant than eating vegetables is. Having a regular exercise is no less significant than having a break from work or study regularly. It's significant. The ability to be able to speak English will be more significant in the future, or already. The significance of studying every day, daily, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. Have you understood the significance of learning forever? I realized the significance of pursuing our passion, enthusiasm, interest. I realized the significance. I realized the significance. I realized the significance. I realized the significance of pursuing our passion, enthusiasm. Because if we work on our passion or enthusiasm, even if we are confronted with difficulties, are faced with difficulties, we can get over them. We can go over them, jump over them, heave over them, because we are interested in that, so we can get them over even if we are faced with difficulties, hindrance, predicaments, hardships, mayhem, chaos, and so on. That's why I realized the significance of finding our enthusiasm, passion at earlier phase of our life. Even if it is late, it's okay. More important, more significantly, finding the passion, enthusiasm is very important. If possible, before entering the society, during our school days. Significance. I realized the significance of finding out our passion, enthusiasm as a career. Significance of bringing out good sides and unique personalities by the teachers during the school days, not criticizing the uniqueness. The significance of bringing out good sides and each character from students by the teachers is very important. Have you experienced earthquake? Yes. I felt it many times. I felt my house shaking. I felt something going on my shoulder, but it was my misunderstanding. I saw a little girl being scolded by her mother. I often see an employee scolded by his boss. Earthquake with intensity 5. Earthquake with intensity 4. The earthquake did a widespread damage to the region, which were broadcasted by the TV program. The earthquake did a widespread damage to the region. Earthquake can be harmful to the region. Earthquake can devastate everything. The damage caused by earthquake often exceed our expectations, anticipation, prediction, presumptions, and so on. And the power and scale and the damages from earthquake can exceed our predictions. Widespread. Do you believe the widespread superstition? Do you believe in a widespread superstition? Do you believe in the widespread superstition? Do you believe in the widespread superstition? Do you believe in the widespread superstition? Superstition. Widespread. Widespread. Widespread, sky spread. Widespread fire, wildfires. How to resolve widespread wildfires? Any good ideas to stop the widespread wildfires? Widespread. Natural disasters can do widespread damage, exceeding our presumptions. Natural disasters such as flooding, earthquake, volcanic eruption, tsunami, and other things can exceed our predictions. Natural disasters such as tsunami, earthquake, flooding, volcanic eruption can do damage, can do extraordinary damage to the region, to a region. He said the property is at his proposal. He said the property, land, are at his proposal. I don't need a huge property. I just need a house to escape from rain and wind. I don't need a big property. I just need a house sheltering from rain and wind. And it is said, holding down the amount of the rental fee of the apartment up to a quarter of my salary. It is said that we should hold down the rental fee of the apartment up to a quarter of our salary. Property. The son inherited huge amount of property from his parent. The son took over such huge amount of property, a good deal of property, a great deal of property from his parent. Property. How many properties are you owning? How many properties have you owned? How many properties have you owned? Property law. property law, property law, property law, property law, property law, property law. What are stipulated in the property law? What are stipulated in the property law? What are stipulated in the property law? Property law. Property law. What is stipulated in the property law? What is written, stipulated, restricted, in the property law? Property law, property law, property law. What are stipulated in the property law? What are stipulated in the property law? Property law. What are stipulated in the property law? What are restricted, written, explained, stipulated in the property law? Property law. Property law. Property law. Property law. Property law. Are you familiar with property law? The law students are learning about property law now. The law students are learning about property law now. Property law, 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 property law. Important. Property law, property law, property law. Important. Property law. Property law, 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 property law. I sometimes feel like eating another set of menu in addition to the one I ordered. And after eating a set of menu, I sometimes, occasionally, from time to time, feel like eating another set of menu in addition to that. Today I will order the chocolate parfait in addition to the usual regular menu as a prize for achieving the goal. In addition to reading and the memorization of the words, we should take a balance of four skills of the language, including speaking, writing, and listening. Not only reading and the memorization of the words. Many Japanese students go to a cram school after school, in addition to the regular school work. The wild boar was trapped in the trap set up by the hunter. There are some tools sold in a supermarket to trap cockroaches. I bought the tool to trap cockroaches, which were bothering me. I bought some tools to trap cockroaches in my house, which were disgusting. It is said if you find a big cockroach in the house, there are more than 100 small cockroaches in the house. I don't know if it is true or not. It might be superstition. But it is said that if you find a big cockroach, there are at least 100 cockroaches in the house. They say if you find a cockroach, there are 100 small ones in the house. I bought a smoke which will work for the cockroaches, and I used it in my house to dispose of cockroaches. I bought the smoke which worked for cockroaches, and I used it in my house to dispose of cockroaches in my house. And there are some tools to trap cockroaches and other insects. Are you also bothered by cockroaches or other insects? Have you found spiders or snakes in and around your house? Trap. Once I was trapped in a closet because I didn't behave well in my cousin's house. My cousin's grandfather trapped me, closed me, confined me in a closet. He was an architect, so he fixed the door with the needle, beads, screw. He secured the door with screw so that I couldn't get out, which was a kind of torture, punishment. I still remember. I still remember being trapped in a closet as I didn't behave well. And what is surprise to me? What is surprise to you? It was in my cousin's house. I still remember I was trapped in a closet because I didn't behave well. What is surprising to you? It was my cousin's house. My cousin's grandfather threw me in a closet and secured the door with screws so that I couldn't get out. In order that I couldn't get out. In order that I couldn't get out. In order that I couldn't get out. Trap. What do you think of trapping animals? What do you think of trapping animals? Many refugees were trapped under the rubble, but rescuers were dispatched to the disaster-stricken area, which contributed to the rescue a lot. Many refugees were confined under the Eve house after the earthquake, natural disaster. Some refugees are said to be still under the rubble, trapped under the rubble. Some refugees are victims of the natural disasters are said to be still trapped under the rubble. Some victims of the natural disasters are said to be still trapped under the rubble. There are some traps to capture wild boars in the mountain. There are some traps to capture cockroaches in my house. There are some traps to capture cockroaches in my house. Have you got the tools to capture cockroaches in your house? Does it work? Have you got the tools or traps to capture cockroaches in your house? Where did you buy the trap to capture cockroaches? I know better than to be deceived by the trap. I know better than to be deceived by the trap. I should have known better than to be deceived by the trap. I know better than to be deceived by the trap. I know better than to be deceived by the trap. The trap. 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 The advertisement on the leaflet might be the trap, observing as many people into the fraud, scamming. The advertisement on the leaflet might be the trap to deceive the people entering the entity, signing the contract. The advertisement on the leaflet might be the trap to deceive the people entering the entity. The advertisement on the leaflet might be the trap to deceive people signing the contract. Trap, 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 trap. I attempted to persuade her to stop crying with a chocolate, with some pieces of chocolate and sweets, but I failed. In addition to giving the chocolate, I talked with funny voice, but all of them didn't work. Attempt. I really envied those who could pass the examination, very difficult examination, on their first attempt, on their first attempt, on their first attempt. I really envy those who could pass examination on their first attempt, on their first attempt, on their first attempt. I really envy those who could pass the very difficult examination on their first attempt, on their first attempt. I really envy those. I really envy those who could pass a very difficult examination divided into two parts, paper and speaking, on their first attempt, on their first attempt, on their first attempt, on their first attempt. An attempt at murder, an attempt at murder, an attempt at theft, an attempt at suicide, an attempt at suicide, an attempt at murder, an attempt at theft, an attempt at theft, an attempt at suicide, an attempt at theft, an attempt at murder. He was arrested for an attempt at murder. He was arrested for an attempt at theft. He was brought to a hospital for an attempt at suicide. He was sent to a hospital immediately after an attempt at suicide. Attempt. An attempt at murder. An attempt at murder cannot be allowed, cannot be tolerated. Attempt. An attempt at murder. An attempt at murder cannot be tolerated, allowed. The person was arrested, apprehended for an attempt at murder, theft. The person was sent to a hospital for an attempt at suicide. An attempt at murder, an attempt at murder, an attempt at murder, an attempt at theft, an attempt at theft, an attempt at theft, an attempt at murder. Hmm. Hmm. Attempt. An attempt at murder. An attempt at theft. An attempt at suicide. An attempt at scamming. An attempt at overturn of the government. An attempt at unprecedented experiment. An attempt at unprecedented experiment. An attempt at murder. An attempt at murder. Hitting the lottery, hitting the jackpot on the first attempt will be a miracle. Will be as good as miracle. Hitting the jackpot on the casino on your first attempt is as good as miracle. And never do that again to save your money. Attempt. An attempt at murder. An attempt at murder. On your first attempt. Did you hit the jackpot on your first attempt? Did you hit the jackpot on your first attempt? Did you hit the jackpot on your first attempt? Did you hit the jackpot on your first attempt? Did you hit the jackpot on your first attempt? Did you hit the jackpot on your first attempt? I really envy those who could pass the very difficult examination on their first attempt. I attempted passing the examination every summer, but I couldn't. I attempted passing the examination every summer, but I couldn't. I attempted passing the examination. I attempted to pass examination. I attempted to pass examination every summer, but I couldn't. I failed many times, but I finally could pass. I attempted to pass the examination, but I couldn't. I attempted to pass the examination on my first trial, on my first attempt, but I couldn't. Which started a long battle with the examination. The man was indicted for attempted murder, attempted theft. The man was indicted for attempted theft, attempted murder, attempted suicide, attempted theft, attempted murder, attempted theft, attempted suicide, attempted overturn of the government, attempted uphold, overturn, upset of the system. Attempted plot, attempted conspiracy, attempted conspiracy, attempted conspiracy, attempted plot. Attempted murder, attempted murder, attempted murder. Attempted murder, attempted murder, attempted suicide, attempted theft, attempted. He was indicted for attempted murder, attempted theft, attempted overturn of the system. The defendant was indicted for attempted theft. The person was indicted for attempted theft, attempted. The person was indicted for attempted murder, theft. The person was indicted for attempted theft. The person was indicted for attempted theft. Public places such as elementary school are sometimes used as a shelter from natural disasters such as flooding, earthquakes, heavy rain, typhoon, and so on. While I was wandering into the mountain, I found a bomb shelter which was used during the World War I and II. Shelter, a bomb shelter. While I was wandering into the mountain, the park, I found a bomb shelter which was used during the World War I and II. A bomb shelter. Is there a shelter on the ground of your house? Is it normal to have a shelter on the ground of your house in your country? Shelter. Shelter. Is it normal to have a shelter on the ground of your house? Is it normal to have a shelter on the ground of your house? Is it normal to have a shelter on the ground of your house? While I was wandering into the mountain, I detected a bomb shelter which was used during the World War II. Shelter. A bomb 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 shelter. Do you want to know the romantic reason why we met and where we met? Do you want to know the romantic story why we met and where and when? We met actually under the eave of the rest house during the heavy rain. The torrential rain hit the region suddenly, and we both took shelter in the under of the eave, and we met there. The tourist spot was hit by the torrential rain suddenly, so we both took shelter in under the eave of the rest house. And we knew each other while talking under the eave of the rest house. Many people tend to take shelter in comfortable zones and never get out of them, which are deterring, hampering them from growing. Many people, I think, are inclined to confine themselves to a comfortable zone, which are hindering them from growing. Once we enter the comfortable zone, it might be difficult to get out of them, to grow. To my gladness, I could take shelter in the train station before I was hit by the torrential rain. To my gladness, I could take shelter in the train station before I was caught in the heavy rain. It was after my sightseeing, so it was very glad. I was very glad, but I felt sorry for those arriving at the station after the torrential rain. I saw many tourists taking shelter in the train station as soon as the heavy rain started to rain. I saw tourists taking shelter in the train station as soon as it started to rain. I saw the tourists taking shelter in the train station the instant it started to rain. I saw tourists taking shelter in the train station the moment it started to rain. On the rain starting. As soon as it started to rain. I succeeded in taking shelter in the train station just before it started to rain. The accommodating pedestrian could not help sheltering the stray cat in the cardboard box with a message from the previous owner. The accommodating, compassionate pedestrian on the street could not help ignoring the stray cat in the cardboard box, so she decided to shelter her and brought her home. The compassionate, considerate, accommodating passers-by couldn't turn her blind eye to the stray cat in the cardboard box, so she sheltered her and brought her home. The compassionate pedestrian couldn't turn the blind eye to the stray puppy in the cardboard box with a message from the previous owner. So she decided to shelter her and brought her home. The compassionate passers-by couldn't turn the blind eye to the stray puppy in the cardboard box with some food and message from the previous owner, and she decided to shelter her and brought her home. Shelter. The compassionate passers-by couldn't turn a blind eye to the stray puppy in the cardboard box ditched by the previous owner. So she sheltered her and brought her home. The accommodating, compassionate, considerate, kind passers-by couldn't help turn a blind eye to the stray cat in the cardboard box with a message from the previous owner. So she decided to shelter her and brought her home. All of the residents in the around area were evacuated, sheltered to the shelter, such as elementary school, junior high school, and so on, with a stronger base, which can withstand flooding and so on. All of the residents which are considered to be unsafe to stay in, were ordered to escape to the public places such as elementary school, junior high school, and so on, which were displayed on the electrical board on the website of the city hall, or announcement from the horn. All of the residents considered to be unsafe to stay in were warned to stay away from the region and shelter to the allocated facilities immediately. All of the residents whose area is considered to be unsafe to stay in were warned to get away from the region and shelter to the allocated facilities. All of the residents whose area was warned to be warned to escape from were ordered to shelter into the allocated facilities. All of the residents with the potential of the natural disasters were warned to keep away from the region and shelter to the allocated facilities. Shelter. I wish I were rich enough to be able to shelter to cooler countries every summer. At the same time, in other words, I wish I could escape shelter to the hotter places in winter. I wish I were rich enough to be able to shelter to cooler or hotter places in summer and winter each. I wish I were rich enough to be able to shelter to cooler or warmer places every summer and winter. All of the residents living in the area considered to be unsafe to stay in were ordered to shelter in allocated shelter. All of the residents in the area considered to be unsafe to stay in were advised to get away from the area and shelter into the allocated facilities. Soon after the earthquake, all of the residents living in the coastline considered to be dangerous to stay in were ordered to shelter to the higher grounds as soon as possible. Approaching the coastline during the typhoon is unsafe. It was faulty of you to start the roller coaster with unsafe condition. It was faulty of the staff to start the roller coaster with unsafe condition. Fault in the product, flaws in the product, defects in the product. The inspection is conducted every year to detect flaws, defects, faults in the product. to make sure the safety. Unsafety, unsafety, unsafety. Unsafety of the product was obvious, clear, evident from the appearance. Unsafety of approaching the coastline during the typhoon is known by everybody, with some exceptions. Approaching the coastline during the typhoon is considered to be unsafe, regarded as unsafe, viewed as unsafe. Unsafety, unsafety, unsafety of taking the plane without maintenance. Although the veteran engineer did know the unsafety of the operation of the machine, he studied it. Although the veteran engineer did know the unsafety of operating the machine without maintenance, but he studied it. Because no incident or accident happened ever from the machine. Unsafety, unsafety. Riding the boat with a lifeguard jacket is as good as unsafety. Riding the boat, going through the violent current of the river without the lifeguard jacket is as good as unsafety. Unsafety of having access to the coastline during the typhoon is obvious. Unsafety of approaching the coastline during the typhoon is obvious. Unsafety. The veteran staff, let the machine started. Knowing the unsafety. The veteran engineer let the machine start, knowing the unsafety. The approaching typhoon displaced the residents of the area considered to be unsafe to stay in. The natural disaster displaced the citizens living in the area. The approaching typhoon displaced the residents living in the district considered to be hit by the typhoon in one day. The approaching typhoon displaced the citizens living in the area considered to be hit by typhoon in one day. The typhoon displaced the citizens living in the area considered to be hit by the typhoon in one day. The citizens living in the area were displaced by the typhoon, which were expected to arrive there in one day. The residents living in the area were displaced by typhoon, which was expected to arrive there in one day. The citizens living in the area were displaced by the typhoon, which was expected to arrive there in one day. The following day, the citizens living in the area were evacuated, displaced by the typhoon, which was expected to arrive there the following day. The new technologies might displace the current workers more and more. The development of new technologies such as AI might displace more and more workers from the workplaces. I was asked by my boss to make the summary of the meeting. I was asked by my boss to make the summary of the meeting. I was asked by my boss to summarize the meeting and send the information via email no later than Friday night. I like to watch the YouTube video by a YouTuber who tells the audience of informative information after summarizing informative books. I like to watch a YouTube video by a YouTuber who tells us informative information after reading informative books. I like to watch videos from a YouTuber who gives us the summary of informative books. I have listened to many performances sound of the musical instrument ever, but your performance, playing, left nothing to be desired. Flawless, perfect. The customer left nothing to be desired except for rude attitude. The customer left nothing to be desired except rude attitude. The customer left nothing to be desired aside from rude attitude. Which fruit leaves nothing to be desired for you? Who do you think left nothing to be desired in the candidates? Who do you think will be best in the 5 candidates suitable for the position. Who do you think will be the most suitable for the position? Who do you think will be the most suitable for the position, occupation, profession? Who do you think will leave nothing to be desired for the position? Who do you think will leave nothing to be desired for the position? The taste of the loquat leaves nothing to be desired for me. Which fruits do you think will leave nothing to be desired regarding the taste for you? Which fruits do you think will leave nothing to be desired for you? I mean, which fruit do you like the best? Strawberry, apple, watermelon, peach. Apart from the rainy day, on the one day in a week, our trip to Hokkaido was very good. Aside from the hotness and humidity, our trip to Kyoto was best. Apart from the class after lunch, I was very active. I was concentrated on the lecture. Aside from the class after eating lunch, I was so focused on the lectures. Aside from the class after the lunchtime, I was so focused on the lectures, every lecture. I ought to have thought about my career before choosing the company I entered. I ought to have thought more about my career before entering the society. And then this kind of mistake would not have happened. We ought to think about our future career in detail. We all ought to have a regular exercise and eat vegetables. We ought to eat vegetables. We ought to have a regular exercise. We sometimes ought to be bored and go for it. We sometimes ought to be bored and go for it. We sometimes ought to be bored and stick to it. Could you give me one day to think over the decision? Could you give me one or a couple of days to think over it? Think it over. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is the fastest. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is the fastest. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is the fastest. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is fastest. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is the fastest. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is the fastest. Do you think the premise is valid in this generation? The rule and policy, the defense policies are created under the premise that such kind of incident will never happen. The defense policies are created under the premise that this kind of incident would not have happened. I wouldn't happen. The class, which is held on the first year in the school, is conducted under the premise that all of the students have already finished all of the curriculum for the high school. The class, which is conducted from the first year of the high school, is conducted under the premise that all of the students have finished all of the curriculums of junior high school. Premise. I ought to have thought more about my career. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the fraudulent company. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the scamming. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the fraudulent company. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the scamming. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the scamming. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the fraudulent company. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the betrayer. I ought to have known better than to be betrayed by many people. I ought to have known better than to be deceived by the buyer. I ought to have known better than to be scammed by the person. I ought to have known better than to give away such expensive watch to someone I don't know for free. Please make sure that your passport is valid for more than 6 months, otherwise you cannot enter the country as a policy of the country. Please make certain that your passport is valid more than 1 year. The notorious bill will be coming to effect next year. The notorious bill will take effective from next year. The equation is created under the premise that the speed of the light is the fastest. The equation is created under the premise that the speed of the light is the fastest. The equation is made under the premise that the speed of light is fastest. The equation is created. The equation is composed under the premise that the speed of light is the fastest. The equation is composed under the premise that the speed of light is fastest. Above all, I only remember the days I got over difficulties. Above all, I only remember the difficulties which I could get over or not in the past. Above all, I especially appreciate the patronage and kindness from you. Above all, I really appreciate your support, help, and more things I cannot describe by words. Without your help, I couldn't have achieved it. Without your help, if it had not been for your help, support, and patronage, kindness, I could not have achieved it. I wouldn't have been here now. I wouldn't be here now. Above all, I like to spend my time reading a book on Sunday. Above all, I like swimming in the sea better than climbing the mountain in summer. Above all, I love swimming in the sea. In the research, the scientific results shows that the more we spend time on SNS, the more we get depressed. Two teams were divided into the group was divided into two groups. The participants were divided into two parts. One is without using social networking service, and the other spend time together with the social networking service. In the research, the scientific data shows that the group without using social networking service felt happier. But I don't know if it will be applied to everybody. I don't know. It's a research only experiment, so there must be some exceptions. Scientific data. Show me scientific data showing why it is bad for your health. Please show me the scientific data why eating junk food every day is bad for our health. Please show me the scientific data why eating snacks and sweets are bad for our health. Please show me the scientific data showing that drinking a cup of coffee in the stomach, a vacant stomach, is bad for our health. Please show me the scientific data showing the reason why it is not healthy to drink a cup of coffee in the first place after getting up. Please show me the scientific data showing the reason why it is unhealthy to drink a cup of coffee in the first place after getting up. The position calls for the flexible ability to cope with problems happening on the spot and answering confusing questions from the customers. The position calls for flexible ability to deal with many kinds of problems from customers. The hostages. The criminal with the hostage called for tremendous amount of money from the police officers. The criminal with the hostage asked for exorbitant amount of money, 1 trillion yen. The criminal with the hostage called for exorbitant amount of money. Could you help me deal with this problem? Could you help me deal with these problems? It is said that successful people tend to deal with the most difficult tasks in the first place in a day. They say that successful people tend to deal with the most difficult tasks in the first place in the day. It is said that successful people are inclined to deal with the most difficult task in the first place in the day. It is said that successful people are apt to deal with the most difficult task in the day, in the first place. The assistant teacher told us to not to ask complicated problems. Ask complicated questions to the main teacher. Why are you always making things complicated? Why do you always make things complicated? Why always try to make things complicated? Why do you always make things complicated? Why do you always make things complicated? Don't suggest the topic. It will make the things complicated. Don't refer to the topic, which will make the things more complicated. When I asked my coworker for filling the data in the Excel files, he said, leave it to me. When I asked my coworker to fill out the figures into the Excel file, he said, leave it to me. When I asked my coworker to fill in the figures into the Excel files, he told me, leave it to me, leave it to me. He is a kind of my hero, savior. There, I heard some students saying it was a piece of cake after the center examination. I heard some students saying it was a piece of cake after the examinations to threaten others. But I never cared. I heard some students saying it was a piece of cake after the examination to threaten others. But I never cared. Excuse me, it's a little bit serious conversation, but I want you to go to our branch office in Niigata on next Sunday to set up the newly developed machine in the factory in there, if possible. But if you cannot, I will ask another employee. I would like you to go to the Niigata branch office to set up the new machine there in order to produce the same product in the Niigata's factory. I want you to be successful in the future. I want you to be successful in the business. I would like you to be successful in the business. I really would like you to be successful in the business. I really would like you to succeed in the business. I want you to succeed in the business. I have some time to look the documents over in Shinkansen. It will take 2 hours and a half from between Tokyo and Osaka. So I have the opportunity. I will have the time. Let me look it over. Go it over. Go it over in the Shinkansen, and I will message you as soon as I look it over. Let me look it over. Let me go it over in the Shinkansen. I will notify you of my opinions as soon as I looked it over. By when do I have to turn it in? By when do I have to hand it in? By when do I have to turn it in? By when do I have to turn it in? Hand it in. When was the deadline I have to When was the deadline? When was the deadline that I have to hand it in by? When was the deadline I have to hand it in, turn it in by? When was the deadline I have to hand it in by? When was the deadline that I have to hand it in by? Turn it in, hand it in. I have my hands full now. Sorry, I have my hands full now. I have my hands full. I have my hands full. I have my hands full. My parents always have their 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 hands full. I have my hands full right now. Sorry, I will get back to you later. Via email or chat. I will get back to you. I will get back to you. I will get back to you later. I will get back to you later. I will get back to you later. I have my hands full right now. Sorry, I have my hands full right now. I have my hands full. 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 Very busy. I have my hands full. Sorry, I have my hands full. I will get back to you later. Thank you. I have my hands full. Sorry, I have my hands full now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. What if I hit the lottery? Summer jump lottery. What if I hit the summer jump lottery? What if I hit the jackpot at the casino, winning 1 billion yen? Do you ask me for money? Do you ask me for money? Do you call me for money? What if today is the last day of the work? What if the earth will end today? What if the earth would end today? What if the earth would end today? What would you eat? What if the earth ended by today? What would you eat last? What if the earth ended by today? What would you eat? What would you behave? How would you behave? What if I hit the summer lottery? Will you ask me for money? Will you ask me to lend you money? Will you ask me to lend you money? What if I win the lottery? Will you ask me to lend you money? What if I hit the lottery? Win the lottery? What if I win the lottery? Will you ask me to lend you money? Please make sure meet all of the requirements description written in the description. Before submitting your resume, please make sure that you meet all of the requirements and fill out all of the blanks. Before turning it in, please make sure that you filled out all of the blanks. Before submitting your resume, please make sure that you have filled out all of the blanks. Before submitting your resume, before turning in your resume, before handing in your resume, before turning in your resume, before turning in your resume, before turning in your resume, please make sure that all of the requirements are met. Please make sure that you meet all of the requirements. I bet more and more jobs will be replaced by AIs. I bet the concept of working will be changed drastically. The concept of working will disappear. I bet. I bet the concept of the working job will definitely change. I bet the concept for working will totally change in the future. I bet the concept of working will change drastically, thoroughly. Upside down. Inside out. Inside out. I bet the concept of work will upside down change, will change, upside down, inside out, thoroughly, drastically, absolutely, definitely. I bet the concept for work will change, inside out, thoroughly, drastically, radically. Are you mad at me? No, but you look as if you was mad at me. But you look as if you were mad at me. You look as if you were mad at me. There must be something wrong with her. There must be something wrong in her. There must be something wrong in her. You look as if you were mad at me. She has a short temper. She is easy to get mad at anybody. She has a short temper, enough to get mad at anybody for trivial things. She has a short temper enough to get mad at anybody for trivial things. She has a short temper. She has a short temper enough to get mad at somebody, anybody, everybody for trivial things. For trivial things, subtle things. She has a short temper enough to get mad at anybody for a trivial thing, for a subtle thing. She has a short temper enough to get mad at somebody for a trivial thing, for a subtle thing, for a little thing. She has a short temper enough to get mad at anybody for a subtle thing, for a little thing, for a small thing, for a trivial thing, trivial. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.